Hi, everybody. Welcome to Learn by Doing, where you'll pick up a quick tool, quick concept that you can apply to your business right away. Today, I love to look into an international market with this tool called Manus. I hope I pronounced that right. I have an idea that I want to test out in Asia. I was curious to see what it can do to help me research this market and generate a high level market and competitive analysis for this idea. So let's dive into it.
I just got access to Manus. It is a competitor of the generative AI chat interfaces like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. I believe it comes out of China, and I just got early access, and I am going to try it out. So this is Manus. As a free account, I have about 1,000 credits that I can play around with. Down below, there are some pre-made tasks or templates that one can dive in right away. So it's a mixture of tasks like planning life events, planning a trip, such as researching the market, analyze some data, scraping the web for different leads, learning new complex concepts, exploring the scale of the universe. Okay. And productivity. What's WTF? Oh, okay. These are more creative endeavors. So, podcast editing, interesting. Digital experience analysis, screenplay. Okay. Let's see. What can I do to test out this tool? So, I have a business idea that I want to do in Asia, and I wonder if man is coming from China would give me more insight into the Asian market. Okay, so I just typed this into the chat. I'm saying, hey, I want to start a business in vintage goods and rare goods. Let's just say that exchange in Vietnam. Can you give a quick overview of the market potential and outline any consideration for these opportunities? So again, I want to stress test this idea. Give me an overview of the market size and any consideration that I should keep in mind. I just share the prompts. Manus return with an introduction here. It will research the current market opportunity challenges and give me a comprehensive overview. Oh, and so this is interesting. It is outlining the step that is currently taking here and then asking a few questions. All right. Down below, there's this 1/9. So Manus is showing the different steps that it will take to execute upon this ask. In this context of researching the viability of a business idea, it's going to research the market, analyze trend, identify any legal, regulatory requirements, evaluate business model options, assess competition, compile comprehensive market research report, create the summary, and then share it with me. It's also showing a behind the scene of what Manus is looking at. So right now it's the terminal, but I imagine as I answer some of these questions that Manus have about my business, that this screen will change. So I like to clarify a few details to provide you with more tailored information. What specific type of vintage goods and okay, so I'm gonna just say antique sport clothing, signs, CDs, music, CDs. Okay. I'm just going to say that to target market, local Vietnamese customers paying for international. So to seek the item that they want to acquire. I want it to be an online marketplace and Ho Chi Minh City. What's my level of familiarity? I was born and raised there, but then I came to the US and have stayed here for 20 years. So I don't know how to answer that. I'm just gonna say some familiarity, but not current. Okay, so I just gave some answers to Manus, and let's see if this terminal site is going to change. Cool. So the cool thing about Manus actually is that it's showing me not only the steps that it's taking on the left, which I already seen some of that in the new GPT's versions coming out of the US, but it's also showing me some of the materials that is taking a look at on the right side. And that's really cool because it built my confidence and give me some context in the results and the output that this Gen AI interface will put out. Like I might look at Vietnam Briefing weekly and I might have an opinion of whether or not this is a credible source. Yeah. The thing though is that I only seen Manus, at least from the view that I've seen on the right side. I've only seen that Vietnam Briefing screenshot, but at the same time, it's starting to list out all these other sources as well and be able to show me some of the other sources that it's getting into. I am curious on whether Manus reads Vietnamese sites or just English sites, because I would imagine that a lot of the international market research might require reading in the language. So I will actually ask that next. So the thing about Manus is that while it's working through this market research, I can interrupt the flow of thinking and I can insert something like, can you read Vietnamese and will you incorporate Vietnamese sources as well? So I just interrupted this flow of thinking and Manus is saying to me, yes, I can and I will incorporate them into my research. That is fantastic. So it's starting to include Vietnamese research and sources, and that has built my confidence even more. That is fantastic. So I think for an international market research such as this is so crucial to not only take on these English sources, but also the local sources. Okay. Again, I'm trying to understand the vintage and rare goods market for an online marketplace idea that I have in Vietnam. And I'm trying to do some high level market research and consideration with Manus. Cool. So let's see where it's at. It has completed the research for the e-commerce and vintage market in Vietnam, is going through and analyze the demand and market trends right now. Yeah, this is taking a little bit of time. So Manus is moving on to go through the legal and regulatory requirements for setting up a company in Vietnam. It seems like this Vietnam briefing source keeps coming up in the preview. So I might want to note that and figure out, maybe look into Vietnam briefing. Okay, Manus is continuing to work, is at step 4 out of 9. Again, so far, it spent 8 minutes on research, which is considerably more than using something like ChatGPT or Claude. Up here for Manus, there's 2 pending knowledge suggestions. And this is something that Manus is trying to get feedback from to learn of my preference and task specific outcome. And yeah, so I would be able to review these 2 pending knowledge and either accept or reject, essentially scoring which one I prefer. At this point, though, I do not want to do that because I would like Manus to have the time and space to run with the research first before I influence the outcome. So I'm going to let it be. So the next step after looking at legal and regulatory is looking at the competitive space. Oh, did you see that? It showed that Manus encountered some error, but that it can resolve error on its own. So that's cool. Okay. By this time, we are about 10 minutes in working on this research. And yeah, the anticipation for this research report is tremendous, and we'll see what it can do. All right. So I'm starting to see some outputs. The evaluation of business plan, Manus encounter some more issues, but this should be close to done. There's some, oh, this is interesting. There's some checklist that Manus is showing me. These are the tasks that I need to make, and these are what I have done, and these are the tasks that I have left to do. It's now assessing competitors, and then it's going to compile all of these into a market research report. Still waiting. All right, so we just hit a 13 minutes mark, and Manus just delivered the final research to me. So this is a research around the new business idea around vintage goods, rare goods exchange in Vietnam. Here is the executive summary with market analysis, trend, requirements, evaluation of different business models, competitive analysis, and is showing that the market is ready with consumer interest in unique items and current lack of platform for vintage goods. So I'm going to go and view all of this file in the task. Let's see. I'm curious about the vintage market analysis. Oh, this is cool. It gives me a lot to read into, not only in vintage goods, rare goods, but also overall e-commerce integration with challenge and opportunities. It gives me an overview of the business registration requirements in Vietnam. So for any market, e-commerce regulation, import, export, tax, payment, data protection, great. Okay. Interestingly, Manus also give me an ability to create an interactive website to help understand all this research. So let's see what it comes out. Manus is creating this website for me using the content that is already created and is now creating the website layout and yeah, making sure that I can take all of this research and consume it or even share it with others. So let's see what the website will look like. Oh, on the side here, you see that Manus is using Tailwind and it's showing the different layout via code. Nothing that you have to worry about or understand, really.
Manus asked if I want to publish the site publicly, and I said no, because this is a research and is for a new market, and I might not want to provide public access to this report. And I asked Manus if they can publish the site privately, and he said yes, it can, but it will cost a lot more credit. A bit of context: up until this point, I have spent about 50 minutes on this report waiting, and yeah, apparently use up all of my 1,000 credits. I'm going to go through and making sure that I can consume all of this reports and see where I go from here. I hope that was helpful in giving you a firsthand look at Manus and how it can help research international markets and opportunities. I was really impressed again with its ability to show the behind the scenes of what it's looking at, the different sources, and even more impressed with the ability to integrate Vietnamese or other language sources. I was less when it comes to time. It takes almost an hour to generate that report. And it's actually 1,000 credits to gone through that report. Nothing much to complain about. I'm gonna review a lot of the output of the report and see how useful it is. Certainly at first glance, it seems like it is a good high-level overview of the market and the opportunities. And yeah, if you have used Manus or similar tools for different use cases, I'd love to know how you use them. Like, subscribe, put your thoughts in comments, and I will see you soon.